Hi Pisces, welcome back to Astrology 33 channel. This is your December 2021 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a Celtic cross spread as always, and I'll also put an Oracle card and a Mudra card for you guys. We're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice we have in front of us to get an idea of where your focus will be as far as that goes. So let's see what we get. Okay, we have Venus. So Venus is actually going to be in Capricorn all of December, and it's actually going to start a retrograde cycle as well. And for you guys, that's your 11th house of friendships, groups, hopes, and wishes. All right, we also have Taurus, and for you guys, Taurus is your 3rd house communication. At the time of recording this, we haven't had that full moon eclipse in Taurus yet, but you might just still be feeling the effects of that in December. And speaking of 3rd house communication, we also have 3 in the dice. So could definitely be a lot of focus around communication for you guys, possibly finances as well. All right, so let's get started with the main spread. In the main situation position, we have the Star. That's the major arcana card for Aquarius, and the Fool. So to see these two energies come up together, especially for you guys, since Aquarius energy is your 12th house, could just be saying that something that you've been working on for a long time behind the scenes, I feel like now you're actually ready to bring it out into the public. So for some of you, it could just be as simple as going through a healing process, right? So because this is the card that comes after the Tower. So maybe you guys went through a bit of a rough stretch for a while, and maybe you've just been internalizing that, trying to figure out what lessons you were meant to learn from it, and now you're ready to emerge re-energized, right, with those new lessons and ready for a fresh start. Let me see if anything else comes to mind. Some of you, it can be a desire to move as well, physically move. All right, in the challenger obstacle position, we have the Page of Pentacles and the World. So a lot of major arcana popping up already, but with this coming up in the challenge position, with that Page of Pentacles, I can see this going a couple of different ways. Could just be saying, especially I always point out with this page in particular, the fact that that pentacle, it's like it's just out of his reach. So for some of you, you might have felt like you might have been holding yourselves back in some way because you felt like there was something just out of your reach, right? Some goal that you had in mind, maybe. And it's possible that now your perspective on it has shifted. Like, okay, maybe this goal that I thought was important to me at some point, it's not important to me anymore, right? And now you're able to actually grow and move forward because you realized, okay, sure, I had this goal, but maybe it doesn't suit what I want to do with my life next, right? So it could just be one of those situations. And for some of you, it could just be saying that maybe there has been some kind of financial constraints that have been holding you back from taking this next step. And if that's the case, it looks like that could be coming up for you guys this month. All right, in the foundation position, we have the Queen of Cups. So this is Cancer energy here. For some of you, this could be some kind of creative project that you've been working on for a while. And for whatever reason, you weren't quite ready to release it into the public. Could be pointing to that. For others of you, this could just be saying in general, maybe you've just been holding back on your emotions a little bit, right? It always stands out to me with the Queen of Cups, how she's right on the edge of the water. If we think about the water energy is representing emotions, right? It's like being right on the edge, almost being open to it, but not necessarily doing so. So you could have just been a bit guarded for a while. Like I said, this along with those cards we saw there, could just be saying you might have gone through a bit of a Tower moment in the recent past, and you've just been healing from that, and now you're emerging, ready to move forward. All right, in the past position, we have the Four of Wands. So this actually is an indicator to me that you probably did have quite a bit of stability at one point. And maybe that started to shift for you for whatever reason. Could be pretty much anything, like we mentioned with that, if you did go through a Tower moment. Yeah, it looks like there was some stability in your lives. So at the very least, if, like I said, if your goals have shifted, maybe this was something you really wanted in your life at one point, and now those goals could be changing. All right, in the present position, we have the Nine of Wands. So this is Sagittarius energy here. So, okay, just to give you a super generic example of how I can see this playing out, since Sagittarius energy represents your 10th house of career and social status, there is going to be a new moon eclipse in Sagittarius in December, and the South Node is wrapping up its transit through that sign. So for some of you, it could just be saying that you might have been really driven toward a career goal for a while, and now all of a sudden maybe that for whatever reason you found it wasn't as important for you, right? Like the way people's relationships with money has changed quite a bit over the past couple of years with everything else that's been going on in the world, right? So how you relate to money, like okay, is it worth it to just dedicate so much of my time and energy to this goal, right? If it could all be taken away, things along those lines there. So it could have been the cycle that you guys have been going through, right? So there could be a shift in your goals in that regard. For some of you, though, this could also be saying that you might have achieved that level of success too. So not that you necessarily want to abandon it, but now you're finally close to that end point where you've gotten to the goal that you have been striving for a while. All right. In the near future position, we have the Six of Pentacles in reverse. So this is Taurus energy here, and we did talk about it. I came up in your dice as well, and that represents styles communication. So just be on the lookout. There could be a little bit of miscommunication at play. Obviously, I mentioned at the time of recording this, we haven't had that full moon eclipse yet. So for some of you, that's could even be pointing to that in the near future position, even though this is for a December reading. That's certainly a possibility. But yeah, looks like there's definitely some kind of imbalance, and maybe you're even going to have some conversations around that, right? If you feel like others haven't shown up for you or vice versa, there could be some conversations around that. And of course, this is financially speaking, could just be saying that, again, you might not feel like you're getting compensated in a way that you would hope to. All right, in the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Six of Cups. So this is Scorpio energy here. So it could just be saying that maybe for some of you, you're reconnecting with something that you used to do as a child that brought you joy, right? So again, going back to a super generic example, maybe you had this really high-level corporate job, right, 9 to 5, and it might have brought you a lot of financial success, but you might have felt after a while it started to be draining, right? Where you're like, okay, this was a goal that I thought that I really wanted to achieve. I'm there. It's not necessarily as fulfilling as I thought, right? So some of you could be reconnecting with something that you were passionate about as children. For others of you, this could certainly point to you possibly extending an olive branch to someone as well, possibly trying to heal a situation. If that's the case, it could be around your friendships, possibly, because, like we did mention, there's going to be that Venus retrograde in your house of friendships, but also just love in general, right? Maybe even a family member. So there's almost any area of life where that could be taking place, but it looks like you might be extending the olive branch, trying to get things back on the right track with someone. And it could just be as simple as the holidays, right? So maybe you realize, hey, I always used to see this person around this time of year. I kind of missed them. Let me reach out, right? So it could just be simple as that. All right. In the environment position, we have the Six of Wands. So this is Leo energy here. So yeah, for you guys, that's your sixth house of work, daily routines, health. So it could just be saying that for some of you, maybe you are still getting some level of success within your career, right? And maybe now it's just a matter of you possibly realizing, like, okay, I reached that level I was hoping to, but is it as fulfilling as I thought it would be, right? But for others of you, you are going to actually enjoy the fact that, okay, I'm finally getting the recognition for all of the work that I have put in over the years. Right now, it's finally coming to fruition. Or, like I said, if this was just some kind of a creative project you've been working on behind the scenes for a long time, and now it finally comes out into public, and you're celebrated for it too, right? You could feel that, well, for whatever reason, the word vindication came to mind, but that's not necessarily the vibe I'm getting from it fully, but definitely the way you're like, okay, cool. I feel like all of that work I was putting in behind the scenes that people couldn't necessarily see, turns out it was worth it, right? So maybe there was a little bit of doubt around if that was the case at certain points, and that could be what that Nine of Wands is pointing to for you in that regard. All right, in the hopes or fears position, we have the Three of Wands, Aries energy, and the Five of Pentacles, Taurus energy. So this can be financially related for some of you for sure, since we do see that Six of Pentacles in reverse. But for some of you, it could be around communication too. So, for example, let's say you had a falling out with someone, right? And that could have been the tower moment that we were talking about. And you might have just been holding out, like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to wait for them to come back to me, right? Come communicate to me. That happens all too often with conflicts, right? Everyone thinks the other person should come forward first. So it could have just been one of those cycles that you're in, like, okay, I'm going to wait for them to come toward me, but at the same time, you might have feared that, hey, what if they don't come back around, right? So you might have felt like you were just going to be in that never-ending cycle. For some of you, if this is around finances, though, I feel like this is saying it could be a shift in your energy where maybe you were just kind of hoping for um, those goals and aspirations just kind of come to you, or at least even if you were working toward these things, you were just kind of expecting others to acknowledge it. But you might take the stance now of, okay, well, maybe I have to be a little bit more proactive, right? So, a super generic example, let's say there are a bunch of things that you're doing in your work environment that maybe you aren't directly responsible for, but you've been doing them anyway. But you could just be in such, like, let's say, a big environment that people might not even realize that you're the ones doing that work. So you might have to actually be a little bit more proactive and letting them know, like, hey, this is what I'm doing, right? So you could get the acknowledgement in that regard. All right, and then the outcome position, we have the Empress, and we have the Five of Wands. So seeing these two energies together, I mean, very different energies, right? But I feel like this is saying, at least for the majority of you, I feel like this is going to be you guys actually coming into a certain level of peace, right? And contentment with yourselves. And then people in your environment, on the other hand, might just be really competitive, trying to get one over on each other, right? So a super generic example again, since we did mention you're going to have that eclipse in your 10th house of career and social status. It could be one of those things where you might get elevated within your work environment, right? And then there could be people in your environment that aren't necessarily too happy that that opportunity came to you. But again, if that's the case, I feel like it's just saying that you've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes that maybe not everyone was privy to, So for them, they might be like, oh, why is Pisces getting this opportunity? But turns out you were actually putting a lot of work in behind the scenes, right? Where they were probably just still in the same petty, repetitive cycle themselves. So in that regard, they really have no one but themselves to blame, right? But that's the main thing that's coming out with that. Let me see if anything else comes to mind. Well, especially keep in mind the fact that we do see Venus energy there, and as I did mention, we're going to have that Venus retrograde. So it could just be saying when it comes to matters of money, for example, right, and even career goals, this might just be a time to ride out that energy, and you might notice people around you might be going nuts around all that stuff, but the best option for you might be to just sit back for a little bit this month. All right, and bottom of the deck, we have the 10 of Cups. So this is Pisces energy here, represents the last 10 degrees of Pisces. So for those of you with your placement in those degrees, you might feel this a little bit more. But if not, it could just be pointing to the fact that Neptune, which is your ruler in your sign, is actually going to start direct motion around the 2nd of December. So that could be causing a shift for you guys as well if you feel like things are a bit blocked up. Now having your ruler start moving direct again, that's going to actually help free up those blockages for you. All right, moving on to your oracle card, we have Milk and Honey. There's the artwork, and the number is 51. So we'll see what it has to say. All right, it says the taste of prosperity, opportunities born of authenticity, nurturing abundance, trusting that your needs will be met. The oracle's message: you've entered a sweet time in your life, enjoying the land of milk and honey that everyone wants to experience. It's an interlude that feels more languid than ambitious when all your senses are awake to the unlimited possibilities in the universe. These times are precious and only come when you're in your authentic zone, wearing the world as a loose garment, not wanting, yet able to be nourished in ways both tangible and subtle. Abundance is an energy that you are a living part of. All your needs are being met. You are given the gift of nourishment in every form. So, definitely a pretty positive message there. And it could just be saying for some of you, could be a shift in perspective, right? To where we're saying for a long time, you might have always been chasing after a goal, right? Like, oh, I have to achieve this level of success in my career, right? And maybe for a while you'd realize that, oh, it seems like the more I run toward this goal, the more the goalpost seems to move, right? And it just seems like a never ending cycle. So for some of you, might have come to that realization and realize, okay, well, let me actually relax into the energy. And you might actually find that in doing so, some more positive things might be coming your way. All right, the relationship message says sensuality, connection, and passionate romance between lovers, sweet moments of understanding, and love among friends and family are all here for you to savor now. Your heart's calling will be answered. Let your thoughts and feelings be sweet with gratitude, and you will be nourished with the honey of abundance. So pretty positive message there. And like I said, it does look like you might be reconnecting with someone from your past. And looks like they'd actually be happy to see that as well with that energy we have there. So hopefully that resonated. The prosperity message says there is only one authentic you. This version of yourself is spirit's emissary in the world. When you're in alignment with the truth that you are a unique expression of the divine, your ego can rest and your soul can illuminate your purpose. Now is the time when you're seeking your true north. When you find this direction, you automatically step into prosperity and the world brings you evidence of abundance. Miracles are a choice and a way of seeing the world. With every choice you make right now, you have the potential to seize good fortune and embrace your destiny. Opportunities will lead you to your best life now. Be open to them. You're getting a sweet taste of what you want. So definitely a pretty positive message there too. And like I said, for some of you, this could just be a perspective change more than anything, and that actually helps free up some blockages for you. Because what's interesting is actually when this card was in the spread, right, I had it over here, and we see the Nine of Wands. He's looking right at that milk and honey card with a bit of skepticism, right? And then they also see the rainbow at the bottom of the deck. So it could just be saying that these things are available to you, but it might require a bit of a shift in your mindset. And like we said, we're in eclipse season coming up, so some of that could help clear up that confusion for you as well, but hopefully it resonated. All right, and lastly, we have a mudra for you guys. So this is your mudra here. It's the Linga mudra, and the keyword for it is virility. Okay, and there's the info on it if you want to pause it or take a screenshot to read what it has to say. But under benefits, it says warms the body, relieves cold and flu symptoms, reduces lethargy and laziness, increases self-confidence and willpower. So if that sounds like a mudra you think would be beneficial for you guys, I will put the name of it in the description video as always. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.